how your accountant can actually find holes in your business and help you do better marketing, I think is one of the most fascinating things owning an agency that I've seen over the years. Where an accountant or a CPA, a controller, whatever it is in your organization, actually takes a look at your marketing spend. And once they take a look at your marketing spend, they're looking at different things that are going into it. You know, like, why are you spending this on these events? Why are you spending this on digital? Why are we spending this on print? And they start to pull those things out. And what's really fascinating about it is when we get involved, and we've been involved in a few where the accountant was involved, and you're like, usually talking to a marketing, person, or somebody that's involved in marketing or sales, and sometimes you're talking to a business owner or even CEO. But when the accountant gets involved, it's really interesting because they're looking at it just purely from numbers. They're not worried about conversion. They have no idea where website traffic is. They're like, hey, you spent $150,000 on just marketing on Facebook, and it looks like you have a decent return on it, but this is what I'm seeing, right? And they're tying it back to sales, or tying it back to other things that they have to kind of, reconcile everything for. So it's really interesting when you know your numbers, right? A lot of times you hear those buzzwords, CPC and CPA and everything else that goes into that. But are you actually looking at your numbers? And your accountant can help you a little bit there and saying, all right, well, you made X amount of sales online and you spent, Y to get there. And that number, is an important piece of when you're entering into either changing your marketing plan or hiring an agency or working with people internally, of actually knowing those numbers. So the accountant pulls out, hey, you're spending X amount of dollars on event marketing, but we're only getting Y results that we can see. Why don't we take that money and maybe dump it into digital, where you're getting a much better return on investment, and kind of take it from there. Then you tie those numbers back to, say, website data if it's an e-commerce. Say, hey, these items that we're selling online are doing really well, and that's only a portion of what we're selling. We only sell these 3 products online, are crushing it. The other ones we're selling wholesale, or we're selling B2B, or we're putting in stores like Target, etc. But these 3 online are really doing it. Why are we spending money on the other 27? Or do we need to change things on those other 27? And that's where the conversation starts with your accountant, is knowing your numbers, what your cost per sale is, what it costs to acquire a new client, all sorts of stuff like that. And if you know your numbers on the front end, life gets easier on the back end when it applies to digital marketing.